Hi everyone, this is Prabir Shah here. I'm taking to doing a live session on LinkedIn for you because as you can see that the beard and the stubble is growing and the lockdown is serious matter. We need to keep our uh, distance, what we call the social distance. We need to pitch in with many things with the family at home. And this morning I made a little post which some of you would have gone through about five key takeaways that I think are very important HR lessons as we continue to experience lockdown in our respective countries, particularly in a place like India, which is massive, which is huge, and there are people who are discovering new skills, new strengths in household chores which they never ever may have volunteered with. Maybe a cathartic moment, and the respect for our staff that we took for granted. We realize and learn from this that even when we go back to our classical workplaces, though it may not be the same as it was before the corona crisis, how do we respect our teams better? How do we respect the unsung, acknowledge them a lot more than what we've done so far? And some other issues like that. But right now, I wanted to talk really about how this crisis is going to be, in some ways, refurbishing, reinventing leadership. I believe leadership is made in the moment. You cannot make leaders only by reading texts and literature. You cannot also make a leader by replicating a person from some other clone that exists in our past history. And I think the crisis creates an opportunity for us to discover, rediscover, maybe see another form of leadership which will become very relevant in the world that we will live in, even as we go back to our institutional and business context some months later. I think more than the hard stuff, which again will remain as the fundamental baseline, I believe many leadership virtues that this crisis is presenting to us will be here to stay. And some of these are issues around resilience, around the ability to envision and anticipate black swan realities, to be able to go beyond standard enterprise risk thinking, which, if you ask me, is fairly sterile and classical today. It is going to be a lot more about empathy, less about cynicism and skepticism. When we are battling a crisis like this, we can sit in our homes and have 25 versions of what X and Y and Z should be doing differently. But are we doing enough ourselves? Are we somewhere able to ensure and display the kind of resilience, or what I would otherwise call optimism quotient, that we expect leaders to have as they go through this? What about gratitude? Are we grateful enough to people who still are giving it their entire bit to help us survive the corona crisis? Whether it is on the medical establishment, the doctors, it is the security agencies, it is the grocer, it's the milk guy who still ensures that we get our basic supplies. Yes, there are inconveniences. Yes, it is not a normal day. Yes, there are slippages. But we need leaders who will display greater gratitude, greater empathy for paying even a household staff when they're not coming to work, for being able to absorb a bit of the pain so that others don't lose their jobs altogether. And some refreshing stories coming up, but still many which are disappointing. What about teamwork? When you lend your own little might to running your home better, doing some things which was not part of your charter of household chores, I think you're displaying a great message. How much of someone else's work are we going to be pitching in with, supporting, encouraging when we go back to our workplace? So, this entire thing about acknowledgement, the entire thing about resilience, the entire thing about optimism quotient, the entire thing really about looking at things with greater equanimity without losing one's nerves, is going to be a far better description of leadership that we expect all around us as we do our talent management assessments and processes, rather than hire people or promote people just for what are the hard metrics of delivery. They are important, but they are not good enough. And I think leadership models, leadership frameworks will need to continue to get iterated. The crisis has presented us an opportunity of actually stepping back and throwing away a lot of our copy paste options and models of what meant leadership in more fairly stable environments. But businesses are not going to be as stable. There are going to be more black swan events. There are going to be more work from home realities. There are going to be more virtual arrangements. There is going to be a lot more of the gig coming in. There is going to be the unpredictability of working with newer models and business models, and failures are going to happen. But in your ecosystem, in your leadership DNA, are these adequately acknowledged, discovered, nurtured? And I will be honest, most organizations are falling short. And whether you're sitting on the board of companies or you're a member of the management, I think we need some greater grit, some greater willingness to throw a lot of our classical years of experience away. It's only through that would we use the crisis not only to survive, but possibly to rejuvenate our thinking and doing. Enough for now. I'll be, as always, happy to hear your comments and feedback, and together let us make sure we build back a better world. Take care, guys. Good luck.